You know what's funny? My rule, working in the restaurant industry, when you would take somebody's plate, I would never eat off a man's plate. But if it was a hot chick and she like ate half of her steak, I would be like,
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Oops, the podcast. Giulio Gallerati, joined by my trusty confidant, Ryan Lynch.
Hey, everybody.
Ryan, how are you? Looking good?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Good to see you. We have today a great, very special guest, comedian, multi-talented man, living his best life. Give it up for Will Winner, everybody.
wow. Thank you so much.
Good to see you, dude.
An honor to be here.
Good to have you here in the mix. Will is an old friend, and I'm pretty just generally fascinated by his overall journey and the way he lives his life. I think that it's notable to mention that Will has a very funny and interesting podcast that he does with another pal of ours, Noah Savage.
Yes.
I don't know the name of the pod, but
Get Ripped or Die Trying.
that's hilarious.
It's not bad.
I didn't realize that's a good name.
It's pretty good.
Get Ripped or Die Trying. Basically, as I understand it, the pod is designed so that we can get our friend Noah into shape.
That's correct.
Is there any particular reason why we want to get him into shape?
Well, first season, it was he had his, 15-year reunion at Princeton.
He played basketball there, right?
He played basketball. He was so when Noah went to Princeton, he's 6'7", right? He was 225 pounds. When we started the pod, we've sent like fitness memes back and forth. We kind of talked about this for a couple of years. He was 292 pounds. Okay. So he was 67 pounds off of his playing weight.
Okay. So is his sort of like, what's his goal?
His goal was to get in like a 270, 265 range to go back to his reunion so everybody looks at him and goes like, damn, the Sav is looking good. Yeah, still got it.
Love it. That's great.
Spoiler alert, after the first season, he did not achieve that goal. Didn't really get anywhere close to it. He lost 10 pounds and he kept it off.
Oh, that's great.
So that's a victory, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Weight loss is a marathon. It's not a sprint. For the purposes of the pod, it was a sprint. Mm-hmm. But what
was the time period?
So 12 weeks. So it's aggressive, bro. He was going to have to like really get after it while being on the road, while, being a parent to a young kid, having a pregnant wife. Actually, he lost his father-in-law during this time. So it's a lot of different struggles made it hard for him to lose all that weight. But he kept off 10 pounds in between seasons, and we're proud of that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, okay, more context to all this. So Will is sort of like a comedy OG. You've sort of like been around. You've seen sort of a couple eras of the underground scene unfold.
I have.
And I think it's sort of like a common tale in comedy where like some new wave of people will come up and they'll start killing it or whatever. And they'll have some, whether it be some independent show or they've hacked into whatever the new thing is. And you were like very involved in sort of like the Brooklyn comedy scene.
I was. When
it was like kind of at its peak of the quote alt scene.
It was. I was like in like the alt scene, but I was also like I DJ'd the Knitting Factory, so I was in like the cool guy Brooklyn scene and also like the nerd Brooklyn scene.
Is that a club?
The Knitting Factory was a club. So Hannibal Buress had a show in Williamsburg every Sunday night.
Legendary.
It was like the coolest show of all time, bro. It went long as fuck. It would be like 7:30 to 12:30 on a Sunday night, and people would stay and kick it, and there would be an intermission, and like I just got to play all of like all the trap music that I wanted to play and dance my face off, and had a terrific time.
And so Hannibal at the time was like the best person you could get on your sort of like bar show if you were lucky.
Yes.
If he would do it.
Yes.
He was sort of like an emerging star. He went on to be one of the top comedians at the time. Is he still doing? I don't even know.
He's a rapper now. He's a rapper and a landlord.
He's doing a bunch of like This guy's sort of like a true gem. He really is.
He is.
And it's just an incredibly funny stand-up, and just has this sort of way. He's like, comes off as very comfortable in his own skin, and like has no problem making you extremely uncomfortable.
Yeah, he's
kind of a legend in that way. I've heard everybody has a funny story about him like making them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I have plenty of them, but I remember specifically for Knitting Factory, people would ask him to do the show, and he would just be like, "You gotta be asked to come on." Like, I gotta ask you, bro. Like he would just straight, and that's good. Like,
yeah.
People need to remember that you don't have to, like, a producer of a comedy show has nothing that they owe you.
You know, the irony of that is Hannibal got his start in comedy when Mitch Hedberg came to town, and Hannibal was like 2 open mics in, and he liked Mitch Hedberg, and he just saw him, and he asked him, "Hey man, can I go up and do your show?" And so Hannibal did a sold out Mitch Hedberg show, his like 3rd stand-up spot ever. So that was the funniest part of him, like shutting people down from doing the Knitting Factory.
Hilarious.
Great dude. Always bought my like entire family drinks.
That's nice.
Super nice to me. He loves Gucci Mane, and he loved like trashy rap.
He loved Migos and like
yeah. He would always encourage me to like blow out the speakers, which was rad. Not everybody does that.
Hilarious.
And he loves to party, so he's a rad dude.
That's great. Okay, so we're running around in this scene, you know, comedy, whatever, all these parties, blah blah blah. You were, you know, I don't know if this for sure, but I feel like you were like partying at that time.
Big time.
A fair amount.
A lot.
So, okay, none of this matters that much to where I'm trying to get, but just to give you a little bit of context, at some point, Will became this sort of like, dude, you're almost like a spiritual guide. It really suits him. He's a very nice guy. He's one of the most liked people I've ever met. Like, and for a good reason. He's just a nice person who really cares about people. And like, there's just like never an agenda.
No.
Like, and that's just like rare, especially in a place like stand-up comedy, where I remember Whitney Cummings said this one time. It's just filled with malignant narcissists. That's a good term. So
super self-absorbed people. I was telling Ryan, do you remember like the first time that we ever like really chilled?
You and I, yeah.
Yeah. It was the Naked Party short film.
So I don't even know if I want to like go get into this. No, we can.
I think you talked about it years ago on the podcast.
So it was written by this very talented writer, actor. I don't even want to like mention her name because I don't want to. I don't want to like drag her in the mud with how absurd my behavior was. No, we can talk about it. She wouldn't even give a shit. She would think it was funny.
Okay.
But so Will's girlfriend at the time was like producing it or whatever. Like it was like
in her apartment. It was very tight quarters.
It was really funny and clever, and which isn't surprising because the person who wrote it is, in my opinion, brilliant. Like I think she's really
very talented,
a rare talent. And anyway, we're having this day. We're naked. We're fucking shooting this really funny short film, and we start like drinking throughout the day.
Yeah.
At some point during that day, I decided I was in love with the person who had written this film.
It was rad. My whole soul record, I wasn't even talking about that. So I remember, this is why I fuck with GIULIO so hard. Like I'm not a spirit guide for everybody, but for you, it's for life. But because that first day, within like 15 minutes of meeting him, you were doing a full nude scene, but you couldn't show your penis, so you had it tucked between, and you were standing in the kitchen. I remember watching, and I was just like, this guy commits, this guy goes hard, this guy's the fucking man. And then by the end of the day, you had fully fallen in love with the filmmaker in question, and I was just like, this guy commits, this guy goes hard, this guy's the fucking man.
This guy's about this life.
Why'd you tuck it? Why was it tucked? Was that part of the...
because we weren't making a porno.
We're just sitting there and like, in
the idle time you would tuck it?
You don't like, I guess, dude, but you don't see anyone naked on the okay, very quickly. It's a very clever concept. It was about this girl who goes to a naked party. She's like, oh, whatever, worth the date. And she sees her ex-boyfriend at the naked party, right?
Yes.
And it's just, how funny is that?
It's a great concept.
It's so awkward, but imagine if you were also naked and everyone's naked. It just somehow, it was really clever.
It was rad.
So anyway, by the time the night's progressing, we all go out for drinks after. I'm still like putting the moves on, sort of. I then invite her to come to my show, and during my set, I confessed my love for her.
Again, this guy goes hard. This guy sees what he wants. He's like, so in all comics, like especially Giulio's a really cool guy. He hangs out with cool people. Usually the cool people don't like feel love like that. They're kind of like isolated and kind of separate, especially comics. They don't really honor their feelings. And I was just like, this guy's the man. This is my brother for life. He's able to feel love for a woman and profess it instantly. He's not making some fucking cute joke about it like every comic would do. He's like, he goes for it. This guy's awesome. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. I'm sure. Have you heard like how Giulio used to comment on the Instagram posts? Very direct.
Oh yeah.
Very. Hey, I like you. I'm
Hill Dog,
interested.
who is now we're to be wed.
My bride to be.
My bride to be. Yeah, I like put the moves on her pretty hard too. Like I guess this was sort of the beginning of that era, and she ended it. Hill Dog.
Yeah.
Like, but this became my way. I was like, I'm the guy who goes out and is like, I want you. How do I make it happen? If you don't want me, it's okay, but I want you.
You're going up there and you're taking your licks, man. Like if you hit 300, you're an all-star. But also, you're a beautiful looking man.
Thank you.
And it was like women would be fawning over you, but you still fucking laid it down. I loved it, bro. So refreshing. You don't see like beautiful guys with your beautiful hair and your tattoos. You're interesting. Really, just profess love, bro. It was the shit.
Oh, dude, thank you. You're a sweetheart. So anyway, that all happened, and then her and I went on to have like, a long distance romance sort of for a while.
Great.
And eventually just like anything that starts that heavy, like it's rare that it like ends up working out. But like I don't know. I have a tattoo that was inspired by meeting her, like all this stuff. Anyway, but I really like that person a lot and respect her a lot.
Of course, she's a great lady.
She appears to be doing well. So, I think that I would love to bump into her one day because I think we would both just like think it was so funny.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think that there's something really sweet and earnest. I'm the same way. I fall really, really hard for ladies, and it like most of the time it'll blow up in your face in your 20s when you're like sincere and earnest. I don't understand how to play game in my romantic life or professionally or anything. Like I would rather be sincere and get my feelings hurt than play cool and detached from things. So I was always just in awe, and I felt a great connection to you. So that's I was just
likewise.
That's why I want to keep you around forever.
Likewise, dude. And I suspect this is something that you are generally good at because you're just such a likable guy. But Will's the kind of guy who you like pick right up with where you left off type shit.
Yeah, I'm not the best at keeping regular tabs with people, but I really do appreciate like when we can just get right into the mix.
Yeah. Always.
Because you like remind me of one, like a lot of times you move here, and especially comedy, I had really good friends at home, and like we can always just pick right up where we left off because we love each other, right? Mm-hmm. It's just like, oh, I haven't talked to you for 2 years because of COVID or whatever, and then we see each other and she's like boom, 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 boom. That's how you feel to me.
Yeah.
Whereas likewise. Comics, it's like you can fall out, or just like friends after high school, you can fall out.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yeah. So anyway, Will now is married, has an adorable baby boy who's so cute.
He's the man.
And you seem like you've taken that nice next step into adulthood. I want to pivot now into some stuff that's a little bit more specific. Guys, as the holidays get closer, there's lots of occasions for gift giving. Opt for sustainable, high quality, and often unique gift options at Reboot Eco. And there's gifts for everybody. So if it's like somebody who specifically, loves living a sustainable lifestyle, this is actually a amazing place to look, because I guarantee you there's cool new stuff that's come out that they don't know about yet, and they need to, because it's all really, really sick. And like I've said a million times on the show, it's sort of the progression of the beta versions of a lot of these products.
Mm-hmm. 2.0, as they would say.
The wooden toothbrushes that don't get gross on the bottom because they're painted, deodorant that actually works, really, and all in sustainable packaging, as well as stuff that you can clean your house with. So it's all really, really great. But it's also good for somebody who you think might like it. I don't know how to describe that. Like, these are products that everybody should be using. So I don't see any reason why this couldn't be something to give everybody. And it's actually a little bit of like a unique gift that can stand out in a way.
You don't need to be a tree hugger to like their products. They just work.
Exactly, dude. So if you want to start your new year out right, if your New Year's resolution is to make less of a footprint on the planet yourself, Reboot Eco is a great place to start. You can make a wish list to share with friends and family. Check out the online shop to explore the variety of options. And we really think you guys are going to love Reboot Eco Living, baby. It's really good stuff. So right now, go to rebooteco.com. That's REBOOTECO. Use promo code OOPS. That'll get you 15% off of your order. Follow them, Facebook, Instagram, at Reboot Eco as well. You guys are going to love the stuff. I know we love it here in our household, just in general. Even if I wasn't trying to save the planet, I still think I would love a bunch of the stuff. I know we both love the toothpaste, et cetera, et cetera. There's tons of products.
I like the deodorant that works.
Yes, same.
Deodorant that doesn't work sucks.
Hate to see it. RebootEco.com, promo code OOPS, 15% off. I had a vision for this episode being about how everybody can go into the winter season and just try to live their best life.
Talk to me.
Via you. So we'll get there in a second. But one thing I want to add is that I don't know how specifically you are doing this like for work, but I know that part of what you've been doing is you maybe intend to at some point start a business of sort of like lifestyle coaching people.
Lifestyle coaching. Yeah. I think that's what it's bled into. It originally started as like fitness stuff because I think like the mind body connection is real. But I just want to like help people out in the way that they want to be helped out. And something I told you is that I started doing this and I just realized just how few, because only dudes were hitting me up, but how few men have like friends that they can talk about positive shit with.
Interesting.
Because like the way that dudes bond is always just like sports, like vices, gambling, drinking, etc. Girls, but they never can talk about like lifting weights or like trying to just be positive in their everyday life. So, you know, if fitness is your thing, great. If you want to like figure out content scheduling for your podcast, like I'll research that and I'll help you do that.
Yeah.
I'm just here to help.
Yeah. So, okay. So at the beginning of the year, Will sort of like hit up a group of friends, right? Was it the beginning of this year?
Yeah.
And was like, hey, like I'm going to do this. If anybody wants to like chat or whatever, like, you know, I'm down to help out some friends, you know, as I attempt to sort of like get this operation off the ground.
Yeah.
So I took him up on it and we, you know, have chatted pretty consistently. And it's funny because initially I sort of had some like fitness specific goals that I've sort of like felt passionately about and then sort of like felt less passionately about. But I will say this, like I haven't like taken any steps backward, which I'm pretty happy about. I appreciate that. And yeah, dude, I, as a result would say it's been much easier for me to sort of like live my best life, generally speaking. And I felt much more present this year and happy and able to like do the things I want to do because I'm not like hungover and tired and whatever. So we've sort of like talked through a lot of this shit. So I've found it to be very helpful. And I appreciate it.
Of course.
And yeah, so it's a very interesting thing. So I guess, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
No, like I think like booze is a huge thing with dudes, especially comics. Well, like I've talked to you 1,000 times, but you were already on the path where it's like, okay, Ryan, I'll get your feedback on this. Are you a booze drinker, a lover?
Only on the weekends.
Only on the
I
weekends?
like religiously
He's
refuse
pretty
to
good.
drink during the
Disciplined
week.
man.
He's pretty disciplined and he looks good too.
He looks great.
Yeah. He looks real good.
He looks delicious. Delectable. A lot of times people feel like powerless to stop their drinking, and my number one thing is like, especially, how old are you?
27.
27? Okay, so he's off. Yeah. Once you get into your 30s, you become a nice cocktail drinker, right? Theoretically, you should have a little bit more money in your pocket, right? We're not going to drink 30 beers a night because that's going to make us feel really bad. We're going to have like 1 or 2 Cadillac cocktails, and we're going to budget out like $60.
What's a Cadillac cocktail?
A Cadillac cocktail means that I'm having the if I'm having a Manhattan, I'm having a really good bourbon, and I'm having the nicest vermouth in it, and I'm going to get the brandy fancy cherry in that shit too.
And Will used to work in fine dining too at one point, so he knows about all this shit.
Yeah. If I'm going to get a margarita, I'm going to get a Clase Azul silver, like nice margarita with Grand Marnier instead of triple sec. Like I'm gonna have a nice fucking cocktail, right? And I'm gonna sip that shit like a man because I deserve it because I have money. And I'm not gonna drink 400 beers and get like really fat and hate myself. I'm gonna do things that a grown man does, dude.
Yeah. It's really
That shit will
it's so
change your
motivating,
life.
dude. It's just so motivating.
It's rad. I want more people to get on this wave because I do see people like literally, and I've been there. Like when you're drinking a beer that you don't like, several at a time, and you feel bad the next day. It's like, what is going on?
Why am I doing this to myself?
And then don't do things that you don't want to do that don't make you feel good.
And the residual effect of that becomes more and more pronounced as you get older. I've found where like you went into the weekend, say you had a great week, right?
Yeah.
Thursday, you killed it. You're feeling good. I find that sometimes I'm the most sort of susceptible to having like too big of a night when I've like crushed it in the other direction. Now I want to crush it in the other direction.
Yeah.
So then, I can go into a Friday night and like go way too hard. Wake up Saturday being so tired, and like maybe I have spots Saturday night. So now I need somehow to get energy, and I spend my entire day anxiously consuming to like stay awake, but I can't go to sleep.
And it makes you feel like a little bitch because you're like, oh, I need to have this, this, and this to feel like normal. So it's like, I've got to have the Diet Coke. I've got to eat eggs. I've got to have an orange juice. I've got to hit the I've got to take a nap. I got to get a sauna. It's like, bro, it's too much shit. Like if you just didn't do all that, you'd be fine.
Right. Now, look, I love burning it down, and sometimes I make some of my best decisions when I do.
Sure.
Like I'll connect with something the way that people go on like mushroom journeys.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm doing the right shit with my life. I'm going to Iran. I'm booking that shit.
You make those decisions drunk?
Yeah. Bro, I
that
swear to God.
explains a lot. That's rad.
Rwanda, booked those flights. That's what started this whole thing for me. I booked those flights when I was bombed. Woke up being like, well, I guess we're fucking going to Africa. And I continue to sort of do that. And it's important for me. So
yeah, that's rad.
It's good to have those nights. And what Will always says, which is funny, is like you can still do stuff like that, but like be in control of it.
Yeah.
And like, okay, so maybe I'm not talking an extreme thing where it's like, okay, I have to go crazy. I don't have to go crazy. But to your point, one thing that I've really embraced this year, which has been really nice, is the Cadillac cocktail thing, which is like, I'm going to go out and enjoy a fire ass cocktail. I'm going to sip it. I'm going to enjoy it. I can have a couple. I can even have 3.
You can have 3.
And that's okay. I shouldn't, but I will, but I can. And I'll say this, I shouldn't, but if I do, I won't do stuff the next day that like sets me back to the point where on Monday I have to be like, that's it this time.
Yeah.
There's no new time. It's now been the same time the whole time.
Yeah.
Which has made me feel good.
I always think about like they say like Attell. I listened to an interview with him when he quit drinking, Dave Attell. So he did Insomniac for years, the legendary booze hound, still legendary cigarette smoker. Like the guy got into it, likes to chill, likes to talk to people. One of the funniest
comics of all time.
One of the funniest comics of all time. He said he stopped drinking when he saw every different scenario of how the night could end. And that's where I felt like I got to. Like I hang up my partying shoes and I did it. I'm done with it. I saw every different scenario. Like if you do the math, every different permutation of how the night could end, I saw it. Right. And most of them end up like with me, like kind of sad, alone in bed, jerking off. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I want to have a happier scenario, I got to figure out some happier shit for myself.
Right. Dude, totally.
Yeah.
Great. So, dude, like going into the winter, I want to talk specifically about myself. We can hear about some of Ryan's goals too, if you're open to that.
I would love it.
I'm not trying to shake you down for a free session here, but
free sessions.
This is good. But, going into the winter, I wonder if there's some like general wisdom about how you feel one should approach it if you're trying to live your best life, stay on the chosen path, etc.
Yeah, I think holidays are a tough time, right? So physically, I'll tell you what I'm doing, and then we can talk about why I'm doing it. I am bulking right now. I've been bulking for the past 3 months because I have aesthetic goals where I was very skinny all of last year, and I was very ripped, and it felt good in a lot of ways, and I felt like I got what I needed out of it, but also I was hungry. And my sex drive was low, and I was finding it hard to sustain. So I don't want to be hungry all the time, but I want to look a certain way. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to gain muscle so that I can eat more to maintain that muscle, right? So I've spent the last 3 months kind of bulking. Winter is a great time to do that. I'm going to sit at this weight. I went from 175 to 190. I'm going to sit here until about mid-February, and then I'm going to lose weight steadily, 1 pound a week for 3 months. And then when I come out in summer, in May, I'm going to be about 10% body fat. I'm going to feel good in a t-shirt with my shirt off at the beach. There's going to be pictures of me and my son. And then one day my son will look back at it and he'll see like my dad had a good body, which I don't know why it's important to me, but I want him to be like my dad was hot.
Those Father's Day Instagram posts are going to hit different.
Yeah, dude.
I want my son to be like my dad had a rockin' bod, because it is important for me to teach him how to like take care of himself. I don't know. It's always some sort of weird drive. Other stuff, avoiding holiday tension, New Year's resolution goals. I think that.
Wait, those are separate things?
Well, let's talk about New Year's resolution goals. A lot of times what I'm hearing from people is like, I want to do this thing. I want to, try out this side hustle. I want to explore, like, getting to the place where you just execute, right? So a lot of times people put different obstacles in their path and they make it harder than they need to be, and they let perfect be the enemy of the good. Start building and go. Right? That's it. And have some sort of accountability, any sort of accountability, right? So that's where somebody like me comes in. Just having a weekly phone call with somebody where you say, like, we were talking about building a goal for yourself. Like, I want to do with comedians, it's like, I want to do a one-man show by June. Great. Let's get to work. Right? So every week we're going to have a conversation and I'm going to ask you, how's it going? And I'm not going to crack the whip on you, ask if you've written X amount of acts yet, but you're going to know in the back of your head, every week I'm going to check in with Will, and he's not going to yell at me, but I'm going to feel ashamed of myself if I don't keep on advancing. And then eventually, I've had it with a couple of people, like they start setting these goals and then they see how easy it is to do on their own. Boom. They're released. Like
they fly from the nest.
Yeah. That's the goal, right? I don't want to hold on it. That's what I don't like about therapy is like you keep on coming back and like it's like, when am I done with therapy? My goal is like if somebody comes to me with a problem, we figure out a system to solve it and then they fly away.
Right.
And I don't want anything back from it.
He will never see his son again.
I want him to fly, bro.
Yeah, that's sick. Guys, cozy up in style this fall with the unmatched comfort of MeUndies. MeUndies has the softest and most breathable underwear and loungewear that I've ever experienced. I'm currently wearing a pair right now. They look good. They feel good. And I'll tell you what, I put on a pair the other day and I kind of like pulled out the elastic and allowed it to snap back on. And Hill Dog just put her hands up in the air and went, yeah! But whether you're on the grind during the work week or posted up on the couch watching something that you enjoy, MeUndies, it could be your solution.
Yeah. First gift that I got Victoria back in the day was a pair of MeUndies. We had matching polka dot underwear. And it was super cute. Walking into the kitchen to make a late night snack. The roommates were uncomfortable by it, but we were very comfortable in our MeUndies.
MeUndies is here to keep you comfy. So literally, like we said before, if you are just completely and totally and utterly on the go at all times, or if you're layered down on your couch watching the New Life on Our Planet documentary that we've been talking about, MeUndies should be able to take care of all your needs. They have styles for everybody, versatile loungewear, unmatched comfort, very breathable, and responsibly sourced. You love to see it. Problem-free philosophy. If you're not happy with your first pair of undies, it's on MeUndies. Right now, to get 25% off of your first order plus free shipping, go to MeUndies.com/oops. That's MeUndies.com/oops for 25% off plus free shipping. MeUndies, comfort from the outside in.
But let's get specific. What are goals that you boys have for the winter?
Very similar to you with bulking.
Bulking?
Back in summer of 2019, 16, I think I went into the summer weighing around 150 pounds.
Okay.
And I was able to gain 15 to 20 pounds over that summer.
Okay.
And I had no distractions. I just went to the gym every day and I just stuffed my face with food. It was a dirty bulk, but I gained weight, and before doing that, doubted that I could possibly accomplish that. And now many years have gone by and I feel like I'm closer to that original weight, and I want to get back to where I was at the end of that summer of 2016. Since moving to the city, I'm walking so much more and I'm burning the calories. So I know I need to be consuming more. I know I need to eat more. And they say when you're bulking, if you think you're eating enough, you're not.
Yeah.
And so I have not been consuming the amount of calories that I imagine I need.
See, that's pretty well. How do you eat on a regular basis? Like, do you have like breakfast, lunch, and dinner every day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you have any times where like you forget to eat? Like, are you consistent?
There's times where I forget to eat or I don't have time to eat.
I cannot relate to the forget to eat people.
I don't forget. I don't forget. I just don't have time. And I say
that
screw
problem.
it.
Like some of our friends, bro. Like, and sorry to take this to the left real quick. We'll get back to solving Ryan's problems here. But like, I cannot relate to that either. I'm constantly like trying to distract myself from being starving.
Yeah.
My entire life.
We talked about intermittent fasting on our pod a lot. It's like, I wish I could understand, because I wake up and I'm hungry. I'm thinking about what I'm going to eat for dinner right now. Like, it's constant in the back of my head. But I always find it interesting. So, okay. So for you, it's basically the same shit that you did before, right? Like, it's not a real mystery to you how to get there. If it worked in 2016, it'll work now. What are the obstacles that are getting in your way today, that other than like you're just not eating enough, or do you think you're going too hard? Because it can't just be the walking, right? Because we can up your calories.
Yeah, well, I don't think I'm eating enough, and I don't know, I work out, but it hasn't been as much of a priority as it was when I was doing it that summer. I had zero distractions. I was living in my off-campus house in college alone, nobody in town. I went to my internship. Yes. I came home. I grabbed my pre-workout. I went to the gym, and I did that 5 days a week for 12 weeks.
That's rad.
And it was sick. And I felt it was
rad. So fucking.
And
rad.
It was just routine, and I have a tough time maintaining a routine.
That's it.
My Mondays aren't like my Tuesdays, and my Thursdays could be like different every week.
So with somebody like you, we would like really talk about what your needs are. So you want to bulk up, okay? To do what? To look a certain way, or to feel a certain way?
To feel good. Obviously, looking good is the secondary.
Okay.
Because
you look great now.
Thank you. I felt really good.
Strong.
From the working out. Yeah.
So I would do compound heavy basics. I would set the bar low, because you have this high bar of 5 days a week in your head. Mm-hmm. 3 days a week, compound heavy basics, military press, squat, deadlift, bench, all of the simple shit, right? And 3 days a week, preferably like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But however you get your 3 days is however you get it. And we could structure the program so that it works that way. And we would have you eat, in a slight caloric surplus, and then we kind of play around with it. The goal would be to gain like a half pound to a pound a week, and we would do a hypertrophy phase to start. So you'd be lifting to build muscle, and then we do that for like 3 months, and then we do a strength phase for 2 months. So you'd get these big muscles, and then we would have you get really strong, and then we would see where you are at the end of 5 months, and we might do it all over again.
Would you say hypertrophy?
Hypertrophy. That's where you're building muscle.
Hyperbole.
Words hard sometimes. Okay, so what is that building?
So hypertrophy is like a rep range, and it's building muscle. So you're gonna be lifting between 5 and 30 reps, and then you increase the amount of sets over time, and that is what really stimulates your muscle, because you're keeping a lot of stimulus, right? You're putting a lot of time under tension. So we focus on just getting your muscles really big, breaking them down, and then building them back up with food. And then to just give you a sense of something different, we do that for like 3 months. And then we see how strong those big muscles get. And we typically are cutting down the number of sets. We're cutting down the number of reps, and we're increasing the weight. So we're doing lower weight, higher reps, more sets to get big muscles. Then we're scaling it back to see how strong we can get you. So that's what I would do. And that would be more about you feeling some type of way, which would be feeling strong, you know? And you don't want to get crazy like bodybuilder jacked. So that would be a good start for you, I think.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
So I want to talk more about.
Thank you.
Yeah, hopefully that's helpful.
I'll make you a plan after this.
Yeah, this guy's good, dude. Okay, so I want to talk about what we were saying before with the sort of family stuff and the New Year's resolution. I think that's relatable to everybody. But I have 2 questions specifically about this topic. First of all, I've noticed that people who are like able to just to hit their goals are constantly just like going back and forth between like getting ripped, getting huge, getting ripped, getting huge. Like, is there anybody who just is like, all right, I'm here now and I'm just going to be like this forever?
Well, that's
like, what's
the goal.
The point of changing?
That's the goal, right? So I feel like my hunger signaling is that of somebody in this weight range that I'm at right now. So like I want to eat this amount of calories and maintain 190 pounds. Now, right now I'm a little bit fluffy.
What does that mean?
So like I have a little bit too much body fat at this weight. I want to replace this fat with muscle and eat the same amount of shit. So it's like if I could eat the calories of a 190 pound person, but look like I do when I'm at 175, I'd be perfectly happy.
So, but that's hard to do.
That's hard to do. So you got to build up muscle over time and then cut it back to see where you're at, because you can't get too fat. So I'm hoping, like, if I start at 175, I'm hoping that I've put on, like, I hope that at the end of the year I'll put on like 5-6 pounds of muscle. So when I cut back down at 181, I'll be like, oh shit. And then I'll see kind of how I feel. But the goal is to bulk and cut until you get to a weight where you're like, I'm comfortable with the amount that I'm eating. I like the way I look. And then you can work out way less. You can work out like 2 days a week and just maintain everything, doing 2 sets per body part, and you're chilling.
Interesting.
That's why you see like old jacked guys like in their 30s and 40s at the gym who like they're super jacked, and you're like, damn, he's not even working that hard, because it's like he doesn't have to kill himself anymore. He already built the house.
Yeah.
It's all about just maintaining.
Just could put a roof in every couple years. No big deal.
It's fucking rad. I think I'll miss like going hard at that point, but the real goal will be like, oh, I'll just maintain and I'll do something else with I'll do something more productive.
Interesting.
Maybe I'll make like a bunch of money or do something sick.
Yeah. Well, dude, let's talk more about that, because you were sort of like talking about that, and we still need to talk about New Year's resolutions and the family stuff. I just want to make so you guys know we always come back to the things we bring up. However, it is an interesting thing, and I would say that generally feeling like I've had more energy this year. I've been able to be more focused. Part of it's out of, I guess, kind of necessity, but also like, I don't know, I feel able to sort of like approach things in a daily way that I feel like is very helpful. And to your point, it's like the barrier to entry doesn't have to be something crazy. It can just be like, just go do it today. And if you just keep kind of doing it, sort of, you don't need to do it 100%. No. Doing it 100% one day and then not doing it all for 5 days, whatever it is way less effective than doing it 30% every day.
Yes.
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
Consistency. Like especially with exercise.
It can be about anything.
Yeah, anything. The benefits that you get are within like just doing like the first 10%, you get all of these benefits coming back at you. And I think that's like, it's when you're starting any endeavor, it's consistency over time, dude. It's like, it always works. Totally.
And even just like stake management, if that makes sense, because for example, tennis players, like some of the great tennis players are really good about this kind of shit. Djokovic, to me, is like a very inspiring person. And he's really good about this sort of like in the moment mentality, which is just a cliche. But if you really like think about what it is, it's really helpful for all parts of your life. It's like you can sit there anticipating the fear of your future, being bummed out that you've been unable to get where you are today because of what you fucked up in the past. And it's just all completely worthless.
Yeah.
It's all completely worthless.
Yeah.
You know, you can plan and hope for the future, but it's not it's going to get there anyway. So you might as well just try your best to do the things that will make your future more pleasant, but you can only control what you're doing currently.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, dude. I see it like, so I work, my day job, I do design research, and design thinking is kind of revolutionized the way that I do. But like when you're working on a design team, you just kind of start building the idea. And then like, it looks like shit. It doesn't make any sense. But like over time, it starts to take shape, and then you test it with a bunch of people and you get some feedback, and like they'll tell you what sucks, and then you take out what sucks, and then you just put in the cool shit. And if you just start thinking very simply about your life, instead of trying to be perfect, you be approximate, everything kind of goes a lot better. I mean, look at what you guys built with Oops.
Yeah.
It wasn't perfect the whole time, right?
No.
And
Still
you just
is
keep
not.
on chugging
It's
along.
okay. Yeah.
No, it's the greatest podcast
It's the greatest podcast that's ever happened. Thank you guys for listening. We appreciate you. Toronto, December 16th. Please come out. But dude, no, 100%. And I know, and it's funny, I think about comedy. It's a very like good thing to test all of these theories out against, because, or even just this sort of hustle, you're going to very regularly be doing sort of like shameful things where you didn't know any better. You don't know what to do. You show up, you embarrass yourself. Like the amount, I was joking with Ricky the other day, the amount of shame I've experienced in my career, and I've begun to like embrace it, because as things kind of turn for me and improve for me and get better for me, it's like, oh, you were all scared to try, but I did, and now here I am, and like you wish you were me.
It's the thing that I love about you.
Not to sound like a dick, but like it's true, and it's like I've been so embarrassed for so many years. So embarrassed. I think back on the stupidest shit, and I've brought it up on the pod, like stupid moments where everybody looked at me and was disappointed in me, and where I tried and I had no idea and I fell on my fucking face. And you keep going, and if you can prevail, like it's a very, very satisfying feeling.
It's my favorite thing about you. You've committed the entire fucking time, bro.
Thank you.
Like
dude.
you go hard in the paint. I fucking love it. He's always got an idea. He always wants to do something insane, and he's always like executing at a high level.
Thank you,
G.
dude. Thank you, man. Thank
The
you.
man.
It's very nice. But yeah, so, and I relate to what you're saying, because doing these crazy fucking videos that end up making me no money almost all the time, but like whatever, there's a lot of back end value,
It's gonna
and like
pan out.
I'm building towards something, and like even just I know, like I already know that I'm the best guy to do it.
Yes.
To be doing it, not currently, but like if there's a guy who's going to give somebody all the money on earth to make the kind of shit that I make, I know for a fact that I'm as good at doing it as anybody.
You're the new Anthony Bourdain.
Whatever it is that I end up being. Thank you. But like, I know that already, and I feel, I don't know, my ability to kind of like execute in a way where I haven't done anything that spectacular. I've just chipped away at it. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden 9 months go by, and now you have this sick thing, and 9 months goes by like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what my point is here, and I'm sorry. This is an uncharacteristic sort of like gloating session that I'm having right now.
Whatever, dude. I think that it's good.
But yeah, I will say that, and it's not like you have to be willing to sort of like do unglamorous things to experience a glamorous outcome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then suddenly you're showing your video that you made on your laptop for 10 months, and everybody thinks it's the greatest shit they've ever seen or whatever. Maybe not specific to something that I'm talking about that I've made, but like the fact that you did it at your table didn't matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't have to have the sick thing. I don't know. I feel like too many people that I know don't want to do things that don't feel rewarding every single moment.
Well, you know, like I make things that I like, and sometimes you have to take the L when like you like shit and nobody else likes it.
Happens all the
time. But it's like I've always done it. Like my first podcast with two of my best friends, the good, the dad, and the ugly, my buddies Casey and Pat.
P. Schroeder.
We recorded it on a Tascam, no mics, no nothing, just a Tascam on a table where we would all have like beers just like clanking on the table. Bro, the amount, dude, the amount
whole
of
show, the entirety.
I
of
did
the
that
show?
for a year, yeah,
amazing.
And bro. And it's like there's no mics. It sounds like I'm over here, and I'm like, and the amount of hate that people would email and
funny.
DM us, and it's just like, I liked it. I was the one loading it up to Libsyn. I was just like, I like it because it's raw and it's different and it sounds like three idiots tried to produce a podcast. I think that it's very meta. And even though it was terrible and poorly produced, I liked it. Now I took the L on that, and eventually
It did kind of well, though, didn't it?
It did, yeah. So we eventually moved into a studio, and that was great. But like, or even when I've made dumb videos on the internet, I'm bad, dude. When I have a good set, or when I like something that I've made, I will watch it obsessively. Because like I really like it. Like, when you record your sets and like you have like a hard crush, and on those like where I really like spazzed, I will listen to it on loop. I remember Kevin ISO one time. It was this show in Bushwick. I went up and I crushed like super hard. No material, just really feeling myself. And then immediately after, I just put in my headphones in the show, and Kevin had to come up to me. He was just like, "Bro, that's really not cool." I was just like, but I like it. I didn't want to forget it.
That's great.
But I do think that there's something to like, yo, if you make the shit that you like, that gets you hype, like what's better than that?
Yeah, it's true.
And maybe and it's just like hit 300, you're an all-star, right? Mm-hmm. So if you make 10 things that you like, and then 3 of those things a bunch of other people like, you got a career. Great fucking job. Good job.
Right. No, totally. And yeah, man, it's like an interesting thing, the lifestyle of being a comedian, or I mean, I guess sort of like any hustle. It's like you kind of have to feed your journey with like positive things that make you feel good at some point, because like anybody that goes long enough without it will not be able to keep going.
No.
You know what I mean? So you gotta like, even if you gotta trick yourself. I've had like really low points in my career where I've been like, okay, I'm gonna start a diary of one good thing that happens to me a day. Otherwise, I'm not going to last. Like I've done shit like that before.
I love journaling, but that's the hardest thing to get people to buy into. I think gratitude journaling early in the morning. So when I first started coaching people, I would have them like, I had like a list of like psycho spiritual tools to get involved with, different things to just like influence your self-talk. Cause especially comedians, the inner monologue is brutal all day. Just like, you're a piece of shit. You're not successful. They've got that. You don't have that. You suck. You're not funny. You don't have enough followers. You're not friends with like, trying to get them to
all
buy
those
in.
Thoughts. I have them all the time.
27,000 times a day. It's like, I'm not trying to be like a full-time comedian like GIULIO. I like the relief of kind of being one step removed and just working on the stuff that I want to work on. But for the people in the field, like having some sort of just outpouring in the morning of like, get the demons out and then get focused on your shit is crucial. But
none of that matters. That's also part of what I was talking before. Like, none of that matters, meaning those thoughts. Yeah. I've had most of those thoughts today.
I'm having them right now.
I'm too old. I'm too fat. I'm not charismatic. I'm not a good enough writer. I had my shot. I'm not like bold enough. I'm not like, all these thoughts. I have them constantly, whatever the thoughts might be. And they're all nonsense. But Nikki Glaser said,
you hung out with the Taliban. You're a handsome guy. You've made this podcast work. You're one of the best comedians. You're very subtle and smart, and they're the man. All right. It's Nikki Glaser.
I appreciate all that. But she said to me one time, and I thought it was pretty wise. She's like, don't stop listening to the story you've created for yourself. Yeah. And it's true. It's true. And none of those thoughts, they just kind of don't matter. Like, being the funniest, most talented, smartest person on earth, like it just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
There's plenty of incredible comedians who like aren't that smart necessarily. Like, no, it just doesn't matter. And the only thing that matters that I've seen is being consistent.
Yes.
It's literally the only thing I've seen, dude. I'm not kidding you. And you probably know, this person for sure. I don't know that you'll know who I'm talking about specifically, but I've seen people who had no talent. They were not funny at all. Yep. They were unbearable to be around.
I know who you're talking about.
And like there was absolutely no promise whatsoever. And I've seen these people not become good comedians eventually. Yeah. Who have careers. Yeah. It can be done if you're crazy enough.
Monetize your passion. So do what you genuinely love to do. Talk about the things that you genuinely love to talk about. Right? It's like some of those things have a lot of upside. So if you're into smoking weed and playing video games, there is a huge community of people out there. You can monetize that immediately. Now, if you're into like Baroque theater, like you might have a little bit of trouble finding your audience, but I guarantee you
Reddit
that they're out there and that you can monetize that in some way. But you should also, you know, just like feel it out, A/B test it, see what works. And hang out, be a good person and make connections and network. And that's huge.
Totally. Being around it. And I've always thought that was interesting too, where it's like, I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of people who end up making it in showbiz sort of lived close enough to an area where people were working in that field to be able to, like, on a Sunday afternoon or whatever, go in and meet somebody or be around people. Like, I know where I grew up, there was nobody like that. So, like, I always grew up being like, it's not possible. I almost felt like anybody who I saw on TV wasn't even really there.
Yeah.
It was like they were an alien.
Yeah.
And, you know, I went my entire childhood without ever seeing maybe the only person I ever saw who had been on TV was a guy who played on the 1989 UConn starting lineup. I wouldn't have even recognized him except for my friend's stepdad. I was like, that's Tate George over there. I was like, what? I was like, I saw Tate George. I didn't even know who Tate George was. I was like, I saw him at Fun Zone in Wethersfield. I saw him or whatever. So I don't know. So I don't know where the fuck I'm going with this, but my point being, it can be done if you're around it.
It's so crazy, dude. I mean, you're like, it's weird when you start seeing, you know, people make it and like people that you were chilling with be on, like you're chilling with some of the biggest comedy stars in the world. And it's like
crazy
being able to see that and also see them as human beings. It adds another, I have trouble watching my friends in, like, I watched your Netflix.
Thank you.
But I have trouble watching friends in different contexts because if I see them in a show or something, it kind of like takes me completely out of the show because I know all of this person's backstory. It really does. Like, once you see how the sausage is made, it kind of fucks up your ability to like shit.
She like can't watch people she knows acting. She's
it sucks. One of my best friends is about to like blow up right now and be in a bunch of cool shit. And like it's going to be tough because like I want to tell him like great job, but like also I get uncomfortable watching people in their shit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a hater side to me or what, but
I don't know, man. And I also,
do you feel that way or were you
not
watch
always, not always. Sometimes I can watch people, but I'm forgiving with my feedback. I can be like, okay, this is weird for me because I know them, but like, I actually think this is good. I think he's doing a good job. And, you know, I can typically find some sort of like positive thing to think about because I don't want to be being like, that sucks, he sucks, unless like it really does. And I really, really feel that way. But usually if it's a person I like, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
I mostly like shit and I love going to like watch people live. It's something about when it's on TV, it fucks with me. I don't know why.
Interesting. Guys, if you're looking for a great gift this holiday season, we at Oops the Podcast highly recommend checking out Uncommon Goods. I bought gifts for a couple people on it, and one I thought was pretty funny. My buddy is trying to lose weight going into the new year, so I bought him a 50-day fitness advent calendar leading into the holidays. That's a great idea, which is pretty fun and pretty funny. And I actually gave him a clue about what it would be. I was like, dude, I got to give you this gift in the next week if that's any sort of hint as to what it is. And since you're not a practicing Christian, you may not be as aware, which is another hint.
That's a great hint set.
That's pretty good, right? So anyway, I think he really liked the advent calendar, but there's a bunch of cool, unique, fun gifts where if you've already sort of gotten through the basic lists of best thing to give this year, if you go through those every year and they're not changing, which I've found they don't, as I've started to become a better gift giver, I think that Uncommon Goods is the spot to go for some of the best gifts in the game.
The cool thing too, they also have customizable gifts. So you're not just getting something really cool, you know, you can get something very thoughtful and creative on top of that. They have customizable glassware that you can get with a city or a college printed on it. Go on the site, you will find something truly unique on Uncommon Goods. It's really cool here.
Yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff. Very, very, very solid. And we think whoever you're getting a gift for, you can find something very specific to them. That's the other thing. It's really good for if you know somebody really well. So to get 15% off of your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/oops. That's uncommongoods.com/oops for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we are all out of the ordinary. Moving on, I want to talk about now what we were talking about before. So the family thing, whatever that was.
Oh, family thing. I don't know. I mean, that shit is, that's the toughest.
Going into the holidays.
Yeah. Stuff for me to negotiate is, I just think that peer pressure is, and kind of familial pressure is the toughest thing in the world to negotiate. And I just encourage, I have people that like when they're trying to, be sober or make good decisions for themselves, it's actually family hangs that get them down. And it's so hard to provide good advice and support there, other than like, one of the hardest things when you're trying to make a good change for yourself is you got to kind of change your identity. And sometimes that means really drawing hard lines with your family and your friends. So as somebody who doesn't party anymore, it sucks because it cuts me off a lot from my friends. I have to find different ways to connect with them. And, I think that those family situations, it's just tough. I always tell them, like, do whatever you can, make up something. Right?
Well, now you have like an 18-pound excuse or however much he weighs. You know what I mean? That's a nice thing. Just be like, oh, Trump's all, and everybody understands.
Yeah. No, well, my family, it's not a big deal. Like they're not booze hounds like crazy like that. So it's always tight. But I never know for advice for going home for the holidays. I'll just be like, just text me or hit me up or like do anything you can to find that supportive person. And then in general, just duck drama. Don't talk about Israel, Palestine. Don't talk about politics. Mm-hmm. Duck drama. It's not worth it.
Right.
It's not fucking worth it. It never is. I don't know people who spend this energy fucking getting in deep to their parents. You can't change people in a weekend. You can't change people generally, right? You got to just kind of let them be themselves and duck drama. Don't engage in it if it makes you miserable.
Okay. I have a lot of questions. So I love all that. That all sounded great. So specifically, first of all, are people going home to see their families and like boozing heavily? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
So like their families booze, they then booze too. If they were to not, would their families literally be like, you're being a pussy?
Kind of, yeah.
Whoa, that's wild.
Yeah.
Is this a thing for you?
No.
Yeah, no, it's not for me either.
Pretty tame family.
I have other, like, the worst thing that'll happen to me with a family hang is like, there'll just be too many sweets around and I'll just eat a bunch of fucking Santa
That's a different type of peer pressure too.
It's fine. They're not going to like make me eat them, but like I'm not strong enough to like ignore the setup.
They give me like, because I'm the baby and I'm from Ohio, so everybody eats unhealthy shit. They'll be like, you're not going to have one?
You're not going to eat Skyline chili?
You're not going to have 3 conies, my man? You're not going to get down on this 5-way with your cousin? And it'll be like, I don't know, dude. I'm trying to eat healthy.
And you can't win either because they're like, oh, do you want a leaf? I'll feed you a leaf.
Yeah.
And then if you get fat, they're like, oh, you've been enjoying it. There's nothing that you can do that type of person isn't going to fucking talk shit to you.
Yeah, because they're insecure and then they want you to get bigger than them eventually. So it's like all part of their master plan. And it's just
destroy
like,
you.
Yeah. Everybody's trying to take you down. Nobody wants you to lose weight and everybody wants you to get fat so they can make fun of you.
Isn't there a term for that?
I don't know.
A feeder?
It was brought up sometime in the last 6 months.
There was a person who I used to work with who had these giant things of candy on her desk, and you would go and eat it. You could go eat it, but she never did.
That's sick.
That's like truly sadistic.
Dude, do you think she used to be big and this was like her subtle flex?
Really skinny. I think it was some like feeder, like offset the fact that I'm old shit. I'm going to watch you all have no self-control and get fat off of my shit on my desk.
I think I might be that with like partying and stuff sometimes. Because like whenever people are asking me about it, I'll be like, yeah, go do whatever you want. Go get an 8-ball. I don't care.
Well,
go nuts.
Yeah, here, you want this?
Yeah.
Look what I found. There you go.
I did watch somebody like doing drugs in front of me a couple 6 months ago, and I was just like, "This is exhilarating."
That's
like
funny.
I had my feeder moment.
That's nice.
It's called feederism.
Feederism.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, dude, you said this once, and I thought this was funny. You were talking about like on work on a Friday or whatever. It might not have been specific to your work, but like they'll bring in a bunch of like Chick-fil-A or some shit, and everybody's eating it, and you're not, and you were like, You were like, dude, I like get off on watching them all not be able to control themselves. I'm like, that's mad funny. I don't know if that was specific.
Yeah, no, because it's like the way that they bond in corporate America now is like because they can't like have happy hours because they don't want people getting weird. So it's all these like pizza and ice cream like we're little kids, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna fucking eat pizza and ice cream. I have to work the rest of the day. Are you guys insane? And like I'll sit there with my chicken and rice and broccoli, and everybody will be like, "Oh, Will thinks he's better than us." And like in my head, I'm just like, "Yeah,
I am better than you. I'm literally better than you."
I'm not a child. That's just what the children eat. I'm a man. I'm a grown man. I'm 37 years old. I'm not gonna eat pizza and ice cream. Are you out of your mind?
100%. Yeah, and it's funny. I've started to understand the value of just like feeling good a larger percentage of the time. Not that I'm able to do that in any capacity, but when I am able to, it's a really nice feeling. Like you feel in control of your life in a way that you don't when you are being unhealthy.
Yeah,
you're not sleeping enough. You're not sleeping well. You are eating like shit. Whatever it is, it's nice when you like have these nice moments where you feel good. And I'm sort of like chasing that like a drug in a way, which is a good drug to chase probably.
It's a process of removal, man. Like it's the simplest thing. My wife told me when I first met her, I was like, we were hanging out. I was hungover and we were at a bar and we were hanging out with a bunch of work friends. And I remember I felt like imprisoned by the beer that I was drinking. I was just like, oh, I'm so fucking hungover. I don't even want this. And she was just like, oh, so don't drink it. And she was the first person that had told me that in over a decade. Like,
wow.
You're a good time.
That's
part of your problem. Oh, there's Will. This is going to be a great night. Like, bust out the whatever. He's going to do it.
Yeah. And she was just like, she made me feel like, oh, I can still be the fun guy, but not like commit to drinking like 3-4 beers and then feeling like ass. Like, why would I do that?
Totally.
And I thought it was the biggest that's like why I married her, because I was just like, oh, she gets it. She saw through it and she knows how like I could be. It was rad, dude.
It's cool.
Powerful. It's a process of removal.
Okay, so New Year's resolutions.
Set up a plan. Let's deal with what's a norm. What's a New Year's resolution that we can get behind that's not weight loss? I mean, if it is,
I want to talk to my parents more.
I want to talk to my parents more.
This isn't mine. I talk to my parents so much that Hillary's like, you talk to your parents more than anyone I've ever seen in my life.
I call my parents every day.
I'm talking to my parents constantly.
We FaceTime every day.
Bless their hearts. That's crazy.
I love them. You want to call your parents more? Set up a weekly check-in. And just like, I don't know if I'm sure that your parents would love to hear from you. If your parents are not into the idea of a weekly check-in, then I don't know, man. Tell you. You know what I do constantly is I have reminders on my phone. And so you can set up daily, weekly, monthly reminders, and I will set up a thing that says, like, I have reminders that say, like, you're the man, you're the boss, every morning at 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. to kind of get me back into it. So you could say, okay, when do I always have time? Sunday nights is usually a good night for most everybody in the world, right? Sunday nights, 8 p.m., I'm going to make it a point to call my mother once a week because I know that it would make her happy. And why is it important to make my mom happy? Because she's a sweet old lady that took care of me for a long time, and she wants to be proud of her son, right?
Easy.
And then that's an easy peasy thing. Mm-hmm. And then just New Year's resolutions in general, think about process of removal. Because I know that I'm not saying like a lot of revelatory shit. It's about taking things away, dude. It's not about adding things. A lot of people get in this mindset of like, oh, I've got to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this. It's like, no, you've got to take away the bad behavior that's making you feel like shit. Yes. Eat the stuff that makes you feel good. Lean protein, veggies, whole grains, things that sustain your body, make you feel good. And then occasionally you can have some other wacky shit. But, you know, if drinking is a problem for you, take away the drinking, take away nicotine, take away just abusing your body, dude. Everything goes better.
Yeah. And to add something to all that. So one thing that I had found in the past, and again, this is part of kind of chatting with you, whether or not what I've discovered and have been able to sort of like think about while I'm living my life is the idea that momentum, you don't need momentum. No. This idea that you do, I think, is bad because it's like, ooh, I did this for 10 days in a row. And then on the 11th day, you fuck up. Sometimes it can be hard to do that 12th day.
Yeah.
And that is wrong. That is an illusion.
Yeah.
And the great champions, same thing. Like they can suffer a terrible loss and the next week be back on their feet. It's out of their mind. And maybe they'll think about it sometimes, but like they're able to execute at a high level again.
Yes.
And it's like, if you are doing the thing you set out to do more often than you're not, you're bound to have some success.
Yeah.
Completely giving up is the thing that's going to stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you, so when I started off like coaching people, I was fat, miserable as the start of the pandemic. I had credit card debt. I wanted to be with my wife, but I was too afraid to ask her out on a date. I was like just fucking bugging, dude. It sucked.
That's crazy that was that like recent.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. I just see you now as what I just think of, and I know you weren't always this in control of your shit, but it's interesting.
I wanted to be in control of my shit, and I was just like, okay, what do I want to do? I want to lose 20 pounds and feel good. Okay. So how do I do that? And I put up all of these stickies on the wall where I had to look at them every day. And I just said, like, I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to get out of credit card debt. I want to ask my wife on a date.
Well, she wasn't your wife yet.
I want to ask Becky on a date. I want to get a career that I actually like and love. Have some way of making money that I feel good about every day. And so I just had all of these different goals, and I would write down the things that I hated about myself, right? And as I started, so I would have to reckon with that. I would look in the mirror every day, and then as I started losing weight, I lost 20 pounds. I paid off the credit card debt. I decided I wanted to go back to school and get a different career. And it's just like the power of that every day. I was just like, oh shit, I'm getting addicted to goal setting and executing and removing those things that don't work for me. So
winning, fam.
Fucking winning, dude. It's sick. Not getting in your own way is sick.
Yeah.
And it makes you look like a psycho. Like we still have stickies up in our bathroom now, and it's like, you know, my mother-in-law has to come in, and when she goes to use the bathroom, she has to see a bathroom cupboard that says "execute." Make more money.
Yeah, right.
But it's like I have to feed that demon every day, and it's like there is something about just being bombarded with goal setting and manifesting that will change your shit around.
Fire, dude. And I can't help but keep bringing up tennis metaphors, but you're going to lose 90% of your points as a tennis player because you fuck up.
Yep.
So it's like you are ultimately playing against yourself.
Always.
Almost all the time. So it's like, okay, if the other guy's just like painting lines one day, like you're going to lose, it's fine. But like you're doing everything that you can to put yourself in the best scenario.
When you take L's and you're giving all of yourself, it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's so true.
When you're taking L's and you know that you're leaving something on the table, that's when you're like, fucking it. Like, and you can do that for years.
So true.
I have no problem taking a loss when I like put my all into it, and it's like, what you gonna do?
Absolutely. Guys, I don't know about you, but talking to our pal Will here is making me very inspired to try to get my body to look good. I know I've been sort of waxing and waning about my commitment to like really getting in shape. I think what I've landed on is I just want to look good in clothes. Whatever your fitness goals are, Ryan and I have unlocked a very powerful tool that should be able to help you guys reach your goals, and that is the Fitbod app. It is just a phenomenal tool for putting your workouts together. It will sort of effectively design a workout for you based on some of the specs that you put in, both like the amount of time you want to do in the workout, which muscle groups you want to work, and it'll sort of like make a workout for you. And from there, you can customize it even further. If you don't like supersets, you can decouple the exercises and make them just all their own individual exercises. Like it gets down to that level of specificity. Plus, you can swap out an exercise that you don't like. You're like, oh, I know that hurts my shoulder. I know that happens for me. So I'll be like, replace. It can automatically just replace it for you, or you can go and choose through literally all the exercises. And it has a demo of how to do every single exercise also. One thing that I always found annoying, I'd be working out, I'd have some things somebody gave me, and I'd have to click on links. I'd have to wait for YouTube to load. If I don't have service, it's not going to work. The Fitbod stuff is all built in, and it's like, I don't know if it's like a GIF or whatever it is, but like it's a very simple thing that doesn't require like having amazing service or whatever. So Fitbod is the workout app that we like here on the pod. Download Fitbod and get a head start on your fitness resolutions. Get 25% off of your subscription and get 3 personalized workouts when you go to fitbod.me/oops. That's 25% off and free personalized workouts at fitbod.me/oops.
Can I share one?
Yes, please.
Yeah,
so Will
okay.
prepared some topics for the pod also, and dude, I want to do these. I hope this becomes a trend.
I get excited.
Topics.
Oops topics. I don't know if you guys have talked about this, but I want to hear your take on wiping down machines at the gym.
Oh, okay. This is good. This is a good oops topic.
So is it the responsibility of the person about to use the machine or the person who just used the machine?
I don't expect it, but this is, I think, a good benchmark rule. If I can tell you were just there, you should clean it.
Yeah.
If I see some mark from sweat, if there's some sort of residue left by you, it needs to be cleaned.
So the residue is what needs to be cleaned.
I believe that. But if you're like, if you're wearing a sweatshirt and you have layers on clearly, and like you don't appear to be sweating through your clothing, and you just laid down and done some whatever dumbbell press or whatever, and now you're getting up and leaving and I can't see anything, I don't think you need to clean it.
Okay. I really like that. I think I might be nasty because I don't really think about it at all. If I do, it's rare that I'm sweating into a machine. If I do, I will give it a rub over, but just because everybody else is concerned about it. But I think it's the responsibility of the person about to use the machine to take care of their own hygiene situation.
Interesting. I'm fine with that, but I do think that if you're gross, first of all, if you're gross, that makes it worse.
Gross, you should have to wipe
No
it
offense, if you're like a hot girl and you just use the machine and there's like a little bit of sweat on it, I actually think you deserve to not have to clean it. Sorry, that's very, like, it's less disgusting to me to like have to experience a very attractive person's sweat than it is some gross fucking loud dude.
You know what's funny? My rule, working in the restaurant industry, when you would take somebody's plate, I would never eat off a man's plate, but if it was a hot chick and she like ate half of her steak, I would be like, and I don't know, I have been with attractive women, I've been friends with them, like I know that they're not like anywhere objectively cleaner than like an old man, but I'll just be like, yeah, something about hot chicks, it's like, yeah, there's no way they could be nasty.
That's amazing. Well, dude, keep hitting us. Hit us with a couple. And also, before we leave, I want you. Will told me one of the funniest stories I've ever heard in my life about like wanting. Because I was planning a trip to Scandinavia, and I invited him to come.
I feel really bad that I didn't go. By the way, I should have made it happen.
Oh, dude, whatever. It was a great time, but I of course invited you because you're a great hang. But you were like, I don't think I can make it, but I would love to go there because one night I was working at wherever you were working, and there were these Swedes sitting at the bar, and you were serving them and bartending, and you had the greatest night. Do you want to?
Yeah, dude. I actually. So I'm not like.
This is so funny.
I have. So if you work in New York City in the restaurant industry for a long enough time, you get to know the different cultures of the world. In a very unique way, right? And it makes you kind of xenophobic towards very specific groups of people, right? So I don't really particularly like Danish, Scandinavian, Northern European, Viking descendant people. They're not my folks, and I'll tell you why. Because several times in the course of my career, I was in the restaurant industry for 11 years, right? I've seen it all. I've seen behavior change over time. Brazilians didn't really know about tipping in 2011 to 2013. 2013 on, started tipping, had a great relationship with Brazilians ever since. So lovely people. Scandinavians, type of people. They love American culture. They speak English with an American accent, not with a British accent. It means that they're kind of plugged into the way that we do things over here. They know about American shit, right? They'll have like a 3-hour meal. You like really lay it on, give them some good wine. They're having multiple courses. You know, you're really treating them kind. They'll fucking look you in the eye, shake your hand, and be like, "That was the best meal I've ever had." And then you look at the check, and they leave you like $10 on 500. And since then, it has left a burning hatred in my heart for the Swedes because they know what they're doing. And I've talked to I was friends with a Swedish waitress, and like her sister came and visited, wouldn't tip anybody because it was illogical. It's like these guys have it so good over there. They've got like healthcare for everybody. They're killing it, and they
get paid a lot of money too for every job.
Everybody talks about the Swedes as the perfect society, but they're bad tippers and they're inconsiderate people. Sorry to all the Swedes Oops fans, but
no, dude. And he's like, bro, he told me that story, and he's like, I really want to go there because I just want to get to the source so I can understand what the fuck these people are doing over there.
Yeah.
I just thought that was great. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so this is...
I want to share your other...
Okay, I have a situation where I want to get your feedback. This is another gym etiquette situation.
This is another gym etiquette.
This is another gym etiquette situation. So I have a gym enemy.
Ooh.
And I'm going to tell you the origin story. It's 7:15 on a Tuesday morning, right? I am at the end of my workout. I am going to look for a barbell to do some upright rows, right? And in my gym, there is a Smith machine and a squat rack where all of the plates are housed, right? This morning, most of the plates are on the squat rack. Both of them are being used at the same time. The gentleman on the squat rack is doing squats with 225, so 445 plates on it. And he is also doing some sit-ups on the side on a yoga mat. It's kind of like a CrossFit workout. He's doing supersets. I've never really talked to this guy. I haven't seen him there that often. And I wait until he's done with his squats. And he's kind of like chilling, looking at his phone. And I step over his mat ever so delicately. And I go to grab a plate from the squat rack. And I'm going to take 2. And then he grabs my arm and he goes, "You get 1."
What?
And I looked at him. I thought he was joking. And he was just like, "No, you get 1. You can't have both. You get 1. And he's like, "I would appreciate if you didn't step on my mat." And I was just like, I don't know what to do here, bro. So I was just like, "You can have both of these." And I was just like, "I'm not stepping on your mat either." And I just kind of walk away. And it was one of those things where like, I didn't really get mad in the moment. Like a real man probably would have like fired back and like thrown the plate down and gone hog wild. But I was so taken aback from it that then I went and got plates from the Smith machine and I just started rage lifting, staring at him while he was doing his sit-ups. And he was totally calm, just doing sit-ups like nothing had ever happened.
Was he older?
In his 40s.
Jeez.
Ripped.
Yeah.
Was the mat blocking the only way that you could get
Yes.
to those weights?
Yes.
Dude, people who like superset in a gym as if like they own the gym, it's really frustrating.
And then play on their phone.
Yeah.
Was I in the wrong because I didn't ask him if I could but to me, that's where all the plates are housed. It's not like the plates are exclusive to the squat rack.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong at all. So the problem here is that it's one of those things where unless you're just like really ready to go, and as I get older, I become more and more ready to go, and Lynch is the same way over here, like where I'm able to access potentially like, why can't I have 2? You need all of these? You're literally not even using the thing right now. Can I just use them and I'll give them to you after and we can share? Like that, you know what I mean? And of course you think of that later.
Yeah.
So in the moment you're like, yeah, sure. And you're like, why'd I bitch out? Like I should have fucking, you know what I mean? You were not wrong at all.
Well, I went back upstairs to the apartment and I asked my wife, I told her what happened. And I was just like, I think I want to like go back down and tell this dude a piece of my mind. She was just like, listen, she was just like, it happened. She was like, but I understand. And once she said, I understand, I showered. I got my work clothes on. I went back downstairs in the gym, like looking for him.
He was gone?
He was gone. And so now we see each other every day, and he makes a real
Every
point.
day.
Yeah, he makes a real point to when he's going up to other people to be like, "Excuse me, can I use this weight?" And I'm just like,
that's funny because he's trying to set an example.
yeah. But he's a real wipe down guy.
He's a wipe downer.
Yeah.
So you must have broken some, in his mind, unwritten rule of the gym.
Yes.
Was he sitting on the mat when you crossed over it?
That would have been insane if I just fully put my.
You clearly weren't wrong.
Because I thought that would have been. I thought that's how it was, and I thought that was fine. So the fact that he wasn't makes it even more insane that he did that.
Yeah, he was standing behind, like he had just done his sit-ups, done his squats, and then he was taking a break.
This guy's a piece of shit.
Just two grown men fighting over a mat.
Dude,
At 7:15 on a Tuesday morning.
I have gym enemies too who I've never even had confrontations with. There's a guy. There's a guy who squats on like one of the squat racks, and in between I think there's something wrong with him. So like it actually like makes me kind of like tone it down a bit. But he just bounds around the room in between them, and he has like a belt. This guy's a loser, dude. But I do think I've convinced myself that there's something wrong with him mentally, so that like I'm not as annoyed at him.
I think that this guy's got something going on because so when he does pull-ups, he uses both of the wipe down rags while he's doing the pull-ups. So it's like everything has to be super clean at all times. And he always like comes in and like he's one of those dudes who has a different outfit.
This is it like in your building, Jim?
Yeah. So I think he's a baller of some sort. He's very American Psycho energy.
I hate this guy.
I know.
He's talk loud on the phone in the locker room vibes.
We don't have a locker room, so we'll never know.
Thank God. Well, dude, fuck that guy. Guys, don't forget your public gym or your private gym. If it's not literally in your house, you're sharing with other people, and you should try to be accommodating.
Yeah, share well, man.
Share well. Awesome. All right. Well, dude, Will, thanks for coming on. Great episode, as I knew it would be. So first, I want you to plug a couple of things. First of all, I'm sure there will be people listening to this who are inspired and want to maybe hit you up about your services potentially if you're still doing that. So
yeah, hit me up, will.the.winner on Instagram. You can email me at getrippedordieTryingPodcast@gmail.com. And you can follow our YouTube, Get Ripped or Die Trying, like, comment, subscribe, and follow. And then, yeah, dude, if you hit me up, I will, make a plan. I'll make a plan for Ryan, and we can just set up. I don't have regular rates or anything like that. It's kind of sliding scale, and I just want to help people. So,
and check out the pod. Yeah, it's a great idea, and hopefully, shout out to the Sav. Hopefully, he's
Season
living
2.
his best life. Get ripped or die trying. And Will, thanks for coming on. Always great to see you.
Hey, thanks for having me. I love the pod.
Appreciate you. Later.